jeans found in abandoned mines have recently sold for $100,000, $200,000, and more at auctions and private sales. But why? Why are jeans, dirty and discarded hundreds of feet underground, worth more than a luxury car? Who are the people that are buying them? Who are the people that are finding them? Why are there jeans in abandoned mines to begin with? These are questions that I have been obsessed with since moving up here to the abandoned mining town of Cerro Gordo over 5 years ago. And in this video, we are gonna get to the bottom of it. I am headed to San Francisco to talk to the company historian at Levi Strauss. I'm headed deep into the desert to explore some mines with the most famous denim hunter in the world. And along the way, I'm gonna stop and talk to people who have personally pulled six-figure jeans out of mines to hopefully learn their secrets. So stay tuned. We're gonna learn all about jeans and abandoned mines.
Oh my God, they say Levi Strauss.
My name is Brent, and I've been living up here in the abandoned mining town of Cerro Gordo for the past 5 years. And my hope is to bring this town back to life. And a big part of bringing an old mining camp back to life is understanding the history there. And Cerro Gordo was established in 1860, and it went into the 1940s. And if you start researching the history of mining camps in California in the 1860s and the 1870s, inevitably you're going to come across the history of the blue jean as we know it. The original Levi's 501, which was created in 1873 for California silver miners, for railroad workers, for construction guys, a durable work pant. And those pants would revolutionize the world. I believe the 501 would go on to sell over 100 million pairs. It was voted the most iconic piece of fashion in the world. Stars like Marilyn Monroe, James Dean, Patti Smith, all of these people made blue jeans such an iconic piece of American history. And when you have that context, you can understand why collectors of denim specifically, would really want to have the very first iteration of the blue jean as we know it, which was originally created for miners at camps like this. And Cerro Gordo, at its peak, had a population of almost 4,000 people. So you have to imagine there was many miners up here wearing the very first iteration of blue jeans as we know it. And over the years, I know there's documented cases of previous owners of Cerro Gordo finding these original Levi jeans up here. We'll hear a story about that later on. And for me, after I moved here and I learned this, it was exciting. It was a treasure hunt. I spent a lot of my time during the pandemic exploring abandoned mines looking for Levi's. And after about 1.5 years, I finally found some Levi's 400 feet underground in the main Union mine here. Unfortunately, it was in a level that was very wet, and it was basically just a shredded pile of cloth with some buttons that said Levi Strauss. And in the 4+ years since, I have struck out in finding any more Levi's. I have found buttons, I have found rivets, but there has been no more pants. But along this journey, I have met some very interesting people who are involved with the denim collection or the history of denim that can tell the story of the original blue jeans much better than I can, starting with Tracy Pennick, who is the company historian at Levi Strauss. And so first, we're gonna head up to San Francisco, the place where the blue jean as we know it was first created. Today we are going to get some answers to why Levi's and why miners, because today I'm in San Francisco and we are headed in to Levi's corporate to talk to Tracy, who is the historian at Levi's, to get the full story on what's the deal with the Levi's and the miners. I'm excited. We're going to possibly see the archives of some of the oldest Levi's in existence. So stay tuned. We're going to get some answers.
I'm Tracy Pennick, historian at Levi Strauss & Company and director of the archives. And today we're in a temporary archive space because we're in the middle of construction. We're going to be moving into a new archives in a few months, and we're super excited, but we have some fun things to show you. The story of Levi Strauss & Company is really an American story. It begins with an immigrant to the United States, Levi Strauss. He's from Germany. He's the youngest son in a Jewish family, and there aren't many opportunities. So when his father passes away, his mother and sisters immigrate to the U.S. and they come first to New York, but then they hear the call of the gold rush, and Levi decides to set out for San Francisco. He's already had a couple of years as a trainee, if you will, under his older brothers, learning about the dry goods business and what that means, who the customers are, what kinds of things they need. And this gives him some great insight when he leaves in 1853 and comes to San Francisco. It's about a 1-month journey. He comes by steamship, and one of the first things he does when he arrives is to find a warehouse, a space where he can keep goods, because he has planned with his brothers that a ship full of supplies will come, and he's going to set up a dry goods business right away. And he was able to set this business up under his own name. It would become Levi Strauss & Company. In the first 10 to 20 years, he became incredibly successful for a businessman. He is a wholesaler. He is selling to retailers who are supplying the mines that have cropped up all around during the gold rush. He sells to little small shops that need to supply the settlers that have come to the area, and he does very well for those first 20 years. He wouldn't know it at the time, but later on, in 1872, when he gets a letter, and the company receives a letter from one of Levi's customers. He's a tailor living in Reno, Nevada. He writes a letter. He orders some supplies. He's a tailor. He needs fabric and thread and whatever other supplies. And in that letter, he also writes about a tiny but important innovation, adding little tiny bits of metal to the pockets and other points of strain on a pair of pants. That little innovation, this tailor, whose name is Jacob Davis, has created this incredibly durable pair of pants so they don't tear when you're putting your hands in and out of the pants or in other areas. And he's been selling these like hotcakes. But it's through word of mouth, and he knows he can't keep up with the demand. So he's looking for a partner to help him, and in the letter, he invites the company, Levi and the company, to take out a patent for this process so no one else will take the idea that he had of this innovation of riveting and create, have a partner who can help him manufacture and then sell, distribute, whatever it is. So Levi, the company, agree in 1873, May 20th, 1873. In fact, a U.S. patent is granted, and it's called an improvement in fastening pocket openings. And we refer to it as the birth of the modern blue jean, or the 501, as this pant will be called. It was made as a workwear product. It was called overalls because it was intended to go over your clothing or your long underwear. So it was, the idea was it was a protective outer layer. Eventually that would change, but the pant itself wouldn't change much in terms of the design. But it was blue collar workers' garments. Blue collar, a reference to the denim. It would have been pretty common for the mining company to have uniforms for their workers to come in, and a mudroom where they would hang on a wall. And when you came in to do your shift, you would pull on your overalls, your Levi's, and then at the end of a shift, take them off, head on home. And the Levi's could be worn by more than one person. They might be different sizes, which was actually perfect because we advertised having a full cut, so it could fit a range of people. You just tighten the cinch at the back. So why were they in mines? Because the miners would have worn them there, and they were probably being stored there.
And when it comes to dating a pair of Levi's that you guys get in the door, how do you even begin that process?
Well, we're lucky that we have design elements and branding elements. The company has always been very savvy about its branding. And you can look at a pair of Levi's, and the denim, we know the kind of twill it is, but it's more important the markings. The rivets in particular, those tiny little rivets that we added to the pockets, they actually have imprint on them. In fact, I think it's a perfect time to actually pull out yours, and we can talk about that. You want to take a look?
Yeah, absolutely.
So these are all things that we found at Cerro Gordo, whether it was during a metal detecting event or me down in the mines with the one piece of fabric. But the rivets you were just mentioning, here's a few of them. And so I'd love an idea of maybe how old these might be.
Yeah, okay, so this is the rivet. This is the front and the back side. You can see the little nipple part, if you will. That's going to be at the top of the garment, and then there's the back side there, which is kind of flat. You have to look really closely, but on there it says LS and Co. SF, so LS and Co. Levi Strauss and Company, SF for San Francisco, and then right after that, May. Okay, it's coming around here. May 1873.
Whoa!
So you have a rivet here from a garment that is before 1890.
Wow.
And how do I know that? Because in about 1890, the patent expired, and we no longer had that patent date on the rivets.
Right.
So weren't we clever? We added the date so that if all you had was this little bit, I could tell you what era it's from.
Wow. That's evident that the miners at Cerro Gordo, from the very beginning of Levi's existing, were probably wearing Levi's from pretty early on.
At Cerro Gordo, they were wearing Levi's that could have been as early as 1873, all the way up until about 1890.
Yeah.
So early in the mine's history, they're wearing Levi's. I'm not surprised.
That's so cool. Yeah. All right. What a trip and what a learning experience here at Levi's. That was awesome. To be able to see the oldest pair, learn all the history. I'm excited. And it's got me thinking more about what might be around Cerro Gordo and elsewhere. So we're gonna head back that way, continue on this journey. Next on this journey to understand the wild world of denim buried underground, I am on a road trip to meet up with probably the most famous, infamous, eccentric, respected, wild man in this entire space, Britt Eaton. Britt, otherwise known as Indiana Jeans, after the New York Times called him that a number of years ago, is somebody who has spent decades digging around abandoned mines, dusty old barns, basements, wherever he can to get his hands on old denim. And Britt has found many hundreds of pieces of 1800s denim in his day. He has found millions of dollars worth of old fabric in his time. And Britt has been featured on pretty much every major news publication in the world. He had a show on the Discovery Channel called Ghost Town Gold for a while. And I originally met Britt in 2019 when he was up at Cerro Gordo filming a show called The World According to Jeff Goldblum with Jeff Goldblum. Him and Jeff were up in town to talk about the history of denim. And that moment is kind of what first seeded this idea that, hey, there's jeans in mines and there's a lot of history to them and they can be very valuable. And 5-6 years later, it's really special for me to be on this trip, you know, to meet up with Britt to explore looking for jeans. You know, if you watched my TikToks in early pandemic, you know that almost every video would feature me saying, I'm looking for jeans in abandoned mines. And now, to actually be going exploring with the guy who originally kind of put that idea in my head is really special. Quite the sandstorm we got on the way out to see Britt. We're in the west and we're trekking along towards denim. hours out here. We're getting closer, and I think the plan for tomorrow is Britt knows a local explorer out here named Jeremy. And Jeremy spent a lot of time scouting out this whole area. He has an area that he's very excited about. Apparently it's a very remote area, which is exciting to me. And Britt is out at a different mine currently, so I'm going to get into the town, meet up with Jeremy, probably develop a plan for tomorrow, get some sleep, because if Britt's still out this late mine exploring, sounds like he does some late nights, which I'm all about. So getting closer to these jeans. All right, day one, and I'm geared up, and I think we have a plan, or as much of a plan as you can have going into these mine explorations. So I'm gonna go downstairs, jump in the car with Britt, talk to him kind of about his experiences in mines and jeans on the way out, and hopefully find some cool stuff ourselves.
I was on an educational voyage in 1990 called Semester at Sea, where I had the fortune to go all over the world on a ship, and people were from all the other countries too. So you're with people from other countries while you're visiting other countries, right? Holy shit, look at that freaking boat out there. Dude, I'm sorry, Brent, but look at that boat. How random is that?
A boat in the desert.
And I was just talking about being on a boat.
Yeah. It's a sign, it's gonna be a good day. We're finding some jeans today.
Yeah, I want to go get the boat. Forget about the jeans. I want to park that in my yard and put it up there at Cerro Gordo for a B&B. It could be Britt's boat, and whenever I come, I could stay in it. But otherwise, you rent it for other people. You know.
Deal.
You know, this reminds me of something, and I know we're getting off course. But when I was up filming at Cerro Gordo with Jeff Goldblum, the producers came to me before Jeff showed up. And he's like, "Look, Jeff's flying in today. We want to talk to you about it." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Jeff has a tendency to get distracted, they say. So it's your job to control his ADD and keep him on course. And I just laughed. I'm like, "Dude, you're asking the wrong guy." You got the wrong guy. So anyway, what was the question? Oh yeah, the jeans thing.
Yep.
I was on this Semester at Sea trip, and I met all these guys, and some of the Norwegian guys were like, "Hey, you got to show up here with bring some old Harley Davidson motorcycles over here. You can sell them for like quadruple what they're worth in these States, because if you bring over classics, like if they're 30 years old or older, we don't have to pay any luxury tax. Otherwise, luxury tax crippling in a lot of these European countries." So I did that for a couple years. I exported Harley Davidsons, and I'd ride them around, sell them. I fixed them up. I actually kind of self-taught myself how to repair motorcycles by reading books, and I didn't grow up in like a biker gang family or something. And then, you know, I went over there on my second trip, and I had 3 Harley Davidsons, but I was kind of an alcoholic, and I fell in a well and broke my ribs. And these were all old kickstart Harleys. So I did permanent damage to my ribs kickstarting these motorcycles while I had broken ribs. My ribs never really healed fully. And, you know, you don't have to kickstart a pair of Levi's, you know? So they wanted Levi's also, so I started exporting Levi's. The reason that I'm not, you know, afraid, or I don't have reservations about being on camera talking about mine exploring, is because it's such a wild goose chase that I don't mind if everybody watching this goes and looks for jeans in mines, because they're not going to find any. I mostly don't find any, and I find more than anybody, and I don't find anything. You know, it's almost impossible to find jeans in mines. You know, there's a great book by Larry McMurtry, who did Lonesome Dove, and the book's called Cadillac Jack. It's Cadillac Jack. Cadillac Jack's mantra is, anything can be anywhere at any time. I feel exactly the same. In general, when you're down in a mine and you see the candle wax all over, you're like, "Oh man, this is an old place. These are the old workings." Although a lot of these mines have been reworked. So, you know, you have to kind of get through the modern stuff to get into the places where the older stuff is. I think the main thing about mines, and again, anything can be anywhere, anytime, but if any Tom, Dick, and Harry could just walk right into an adit in the side of a mountain, there's probably not going to be anything left there anymore. You're going to find some modern trash, maybe. I look for places that are hard to access, that are in remote places where you're not going to see any other humans. I mean, to me, that's that's the best part of this, is just being out. And it's just like a fishing trip or a hunting trip, you know? I'm just hunting something different.
What do you think of this one?
Dude, I got a high risk tolerance, but this one is just terrible. And it's terrible because look how big the workings were. This is definitely the place to go find something, but it's just horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Yep. The loose rock falling in, you got timbers falling in, you got big slats over there. Just a real dangerous situation.
My exploring, heavy on everything except actual exploring. Heavy on a lot of activity, not a lot of productivity. This guy that I know who's been doing vintage clothing and Levi's, he's been in the Levi game since the 1980s, late 1980s. He's got a store in Boise. He went to Cerro Gordo probably around 2010. The owner called him and he got like 10 pairs of pre-1920s Levi's, which I hate to tell you is probably why you're not finding anything there, because they combed it really good at that point.
There's any Levi's left at Cerro Gordo?
100%. 100% there's Levi's left at Cerro Gordo. So the oldest pair of Levi's were in my possession for a very short period of time. I don't know exactly where they were found, because my friend who found them, for me to ask him, hey, where'd you find them, is not a question I would ask him. It'd be like asking a cowboy who has cattle, hey, how many head of cattle you have, or how much land do you have? There's certain questions you just don't ask. Ask me no secrets, and I shall tell you no lies.
Hello, my name is Jeremy. I'm from Yuma, Arizona, and I'm a mine explorer. I've been exploring for about approximately 15 years, but using ropes about 3 years. Explore all over Arizona. I've been fortunate enough to find jeans a few different times. 2 different mines I found approximately like 12 pairs altogether, which is I guess a rarity, but I've been lucky. Today I'm showing Britt and Brent around, showing some as you can see, some very obscure places that are hard to get to, and definitely 4-wheel drive all the way here.
Whoa. Whoa. Oh, something there. This means though that they're kind of going along this level and doing that. So here we're getting down. Finally, it feels like we're kind of on some good paths. You know, that's where they had some chutes coming down. The track's still there. So, or we've been shooting out of this cart down on the tracks, going somewhere. Seems like that first one's gonna be our one. We're gonna rappel down, hopefully get to these lower levels. You can see this would have been another shoot to the lower level before. Britt told me sometimes he sees stuff shoved into the timbers, so, oh, there's a can. Looking up there too, some real old timbers. This is a copper mine. You can see kind of the staining. You can see the cut. So I'm pretty sure this is a copper mine. I don't know for sure, but that's what it's seeming like to me. This is exciting. I think that over here is maybe our best start to this whole thing. So we'll go down here, see what happens.
Here we go, yo.
Yep, look down below too.
Keep on going, huh?
Keeps going.
Actually, this is all candle wax here.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I think so, right? What else would it be?
Yeah.
Like a bat can't poop upside down, I don't think.
There's unlimited digging potential in this mine too. Look
Yeah.
right there. Is that a shoebox?
Like a metal tin.
This is going to be artifact city in this place. And if you dig,
Yeah.
nobody's done, I don't
Yep.
think.
There, this is Gant. Now this isn't that great. That's like 20s.
Okay.
No bueno, amigo. I'd say more like 30s on that guy. Where are the clothing? So when you have a mine like this where it's more modern, I'd say,
Yeah.
then about the only thing worth anything is clothes. Or sometimes old oil cans. They use a lot of oils in mines for different reasons. There's probably an oil can here, but I can't tell.
Yeah.
They would have to grease the bearings on all the hoists and shit and all the ore cars. What is this? I'm thinking it says Belmont maybe? Or Del Monte? There's a really old box piece.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think it's tomatoes. I think it's Del Monte tomatoes.
Oh, that's cool.
You see it?
Yeah.
So far what we're seeing is 20s. Doesn't mean it couldn't. Oh, look at this. Shoes.
Whoa.
Look at this little thing. It says something about shoes. So if I can see, oh my God, look at that guy. Dude, this is 40s. Look at this guy. You can tell how old it is by the dude in the picture. I can see it. So probably was remined at some point, you know?
Yeah.
Well, that could have been, look, like this beer thing. This could have been just explorers coming in too, you know? And
Yep.
not a lot of evidence of other people in here, other minor explorers,
Yeah.
which is really a good thing. Look at all this stuff.
It keeps going back a ways too.
Guys just left. I mean, all this stuff in it. A lot of mines, all this shit's gone already. Like every little souvenir piece, you know?
Yep.
Not explored much, I can tell you that much. That would be my pretty assessment of this place. Anyway, so I was looking for a piece of wood to write an arrow on so I could direct myself out. So I pick up this piece of wood to write an arrow on. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, this is a pretty cool wood. I wonder if this is a dynamite box or a candle box. I turn it over and it has a hand-drawn hand and it says to Mitzpah. Somebody else had done the same thing, but in like 1915.
Oh, that's cool.
This is really old shit right here. Dude, if this had its graphics on it, this oil can, I mean, it could potentially still have some paint that works. This is probably 1920s oil can. And some of these go for crazy money.
Mr. India, I don't want to excite you, but I think I see some denim.
Uh-oh. Oh.
Right?
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Look at Brent Underwood. I think it's a scrap, but let's see. It's just a teeny little leg piece.
Oh.
But it is old and it is a clue.
And there's denim.
It's denim. It's a leg of a, just right off the get-go, it probably, yeah, it looks like a carpenter pant or an overall. Probably 1930s. Fun little souvenir thing. But good evidence. Maybe something better is to come.
I do not see any footprints, no.
Yeah, somebody's in there.
Let me see.
That's an air mask from.
Oh, yeah. That's
This
cool.
place is fucking killer. I mean, look, let's just see. Do we see any footprints at all? Nothing. No one's been in here for years. Look what happens when I step here.
Yeah, it's like the moon.
You can see the print. Nothing this way. Bill. And that's the minor stuff. That's not from explorers.
Yeah.
This is a very unexplored mine. I know this is a very unexplored mine because first we haven't seen any modern trash. We haven't seen any footprints. And another thing, mine explorers, a lot of guys like to leave some sort of something to let the other guys know they're here, whether it's a business card or a note or just something scribbled in chalk or a funny face or something. More dynamite, more cans. place is fucking epic. Dude, we're gonna find some clothes in here, man. I'm telling you.
Hell yeah.
We are.
A shovel?
See them?
Of course. No.
There you go.
Oh yeah, there's a, whoa.
In the storm.
Look at that ladder. Whoa.
That's a great ladder. Big one. Jeremy's a big bottle guy.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, look at those boxes.
Yeah, it's great looking boxes, but am I
Big
wrong?
bet.
It looks like someone's ripped some out,
Yeah, it does.
right?
Yeah.
That's a really nice box end right there. Not super early though. Whoa, what's this? Oh, you see this thing?
From like a stamp mill, you think?
Crazy. The floors were in the 60s. I don't think they were fixing up clothes. Oh, wow, look at this, man. Look at that picture on there.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, the eagle.
Yeah. And Aaron's getting more.
Whoa. All right, we're wrapping up here. It's after dark and no clothes today. There's scraps of denim, which always gives us a little bit of hope. But Britt, what do you think on the day?
Oh man, not a great day. It's like, I mean, we got into some places that we really looked great, but as usual, they just kick you in the head and kick you in the ass, and you end up with nothing. The bottom line is, I'm alive, I'm well. We're all alive and well, except for Jeremy. He's still down there. Wolf, sorry, I'm supposed to call him Wolf. The stars are out. It's a beautiful, serene evening here in Mexico, and you know, we're doing good.
All right, this denim road trip continues, and yesterday was a lot of fun with Britt, going in the mines, kind of seeing how he approaches finding jeans, you know, hearing his thoughts about the future of, you know, gene exploration. And today I am on the road to go somewhere where I know that I will see 1,800 Levi's from an abandoned mine. And that place is called Castle Dome, which is in Arizona in Yuma County. And Castle Dome has a lot of similarities to Cerro Gordo. Castle Dome was established in the 1860s. They were primarily mining galena, which is a silver and lead ore. The town peaked at about 3,000 residents, and it was mined all the way into the 1940s, some activity even into the 1970s. And in 1994, a guy named Allen bought the town, and for the past, what is that now, 30 years, he's been on a mission to restore and rebuild a lot of the buildings in this town. And so from my understanding, there's over 50 buildings now up there, all sorts of cool things. And so I think personally on a level of I own a mine and he owns a mine, I'm very curious to see things I can learn from Alan after 30 years of living or owning an abandoned mining town. But as far as denim, there were some explorers that went out there in 2020. It's a guy named Frank out of British Columbia. He went to Castle Dome about 5 years ago now, and he found 8 total pairs of pants from the 1800s. And 3 of these pairs were Levi Strauss, and they report this haul to be worth $500,000. And this is one of my very first remembrances, at least, of people finding these jeans after I kind of been bitten by the bug. And I've met Frank since then, you know, I've talked to him, and I am very curious now to actually go and see these jeans that I've seen online in videos and hopefully hold them myself, and maybe I can get some of the good karma from them, and talk to Alan both about what it's like to own an abandoned mining town for that long, as well as if he thinks that there's any more denim out there in his mines, or maybe some tips he has for me for finding some back at Cerro Gordo. So another fun day ahead. And stay tuned, because we're finally going to see and hear more about some Levi's that were found in abandoned mines. All right, we're entering Castle Dome. He's done a pretty good job of making these buildings look like they've been here a while. So here we are inside a Castle Dome, and it's so cool. The kind of the experience that Alan's been able to create here with just these buildings, you know, giving the feel of what it was, having different things in each one of them. And we'll go on the mine tour a little bit and see some really cool stuff. But we're going to take a look out here, and then hopefully Alan can explain a little bit more about the jeans that we have around here. This says, when a miner died in a mine, his boots were hung upside down on a rafter nearest to where his soul left his body. Thus, he was remembered. This boot was found in the Flora Temple mine in a semi-caved-in area. The miner's name is unknown to us, and he is buried in the Castle Dome graveyard. I didn't know that. Now I have to be on the lookout for boots in mines. It's just so incredible, the effort and the intention, you know, that Alan's been able to do here. As somebody who has, you know, has a mining town of his own, I know how hard all this is to do. And it's just truly impressive what's around here. Every building is so well curated and it has great stuff in it.
I'm Alan Armstrong. I'm the founder and CEO of Castle Dome Museum. Stephanie and I were looking for a project in '93. We were trying to find some place out in the desert, and we stopped at Hidden Shores at the gas station. You got any mines? And the guy pointed to a guy sitting on a bench, and he said, yeah, he's the guy. I went over and talked to him, and we'd been down the mine the year before, so I knew exactly where the property is. A 100-foot level is drill bit stuck in the wall. And so we bought this first property for $5,000 on a Subaru, 83 Subaru. Then we started finding so much stuff in the desert out here. The local mine guys said you can have anything you wanted. They were cleaning up out here. So we ended up getting enough stuff, and we said, we got enough stuff for a nice museum. And that's how it started. We opened the museum in '98. Well, there's about 80 buildings here. There's 6 saloons, hotel, church, sheriff's office, machine shop, assay shops, a couple blacksmith shops, underground museum, and dentist office, Dr. Onson's. Castle Dome, I heard there was walls of fire here. And I thought, I'd seen calcite and a little fluorite, red and blue, and then I had no idea if it was really the way they described it, walls of fire. And then when we ended up getting the Hull mine, we discovered that there was about 50 minerals that fluoresced in a certain area. And we were able to light them up, and you were able to see the wall. It's the most colorful wall ever discovered. And it's so colorful that it's like we showed pictures to Sterling Hill, the capital of fluorescence in the world. They said we had no idea anything like this existed in the world. And it's that special. It's a very unique location where all the combinations came together for all these minerals to be activated, because you can find some minerals that won't even fluoresce the same kind. Calcite, it'll be on top. Oh, this is going to be beautiful. It doesn't even have an activator already. And everything's there to make it work. It is a place where people can come and experience a walk back in time. It's a complete of what there was and what there is and what it was like. And you can walk and you can immerse yourself in the history inside the buildings. And the mine tour is very comfortable. We drive in there. It's paved. It's got stamped concrete, and it's the most colorful wall, and it's climate controlled. And people love it in there. What's kind of neat when you have one of the oldest mining districts in Arizona, the potential for finding clothing becomes even better. And when it's dry climate, no humidity, no moisture, so whatever you find is going to be perfectly preserved. So here by the elevator shaft where they would change clothes, we found about 10 to 15 pairs of pre-1900 jeans. Stronghold, Pacific Coast, Triumph, Boss, a whole collection of really well-preserved pre-1900 jeans. These are all Levi's in here. Levi's have a pair pretty much similar to this. These right here are stronghold. You want to see something awesome?
Whoa.
The only ones ever found, we found 2 of them, stronghold pre-1900. 1 back pocket, no belt loop.
But the button's on there.
The buttons are donut buttons. Now these things here, when we first found these, we thought they were Levi's because they had the rivets and they were so dusty.
Rivets, yes.
And they had but they had this thing here. I'd never seen those on Levi's. It extra reinforcement. They actually made them better because Levi's would rip out right here, as you can see. And so these were, these are like 501s. These are thick. But look how big this guy was.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all had that. L&M was stronghold.
Yeah. Which of these are the oldest pair in there, do you think?
These.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, these are the. Pacific Coast. Nobody's heard of that brand either. Huh? But they have 1 back pocket. You notice they'd wear out. 2 back pockets are kind of handy, huh?
Yeah.
That's a weird deal too. That's part of the cinch. Well, it's like when we found 1 pair, our first pair we ever found. It was on a 100-foot rappel. You had to swing in the drift to get in there, and then you get in the drift and you're walking around, and there's all these vertical holes, and then laying there's a pair of jeans with an 1880 bottle and a dynamite spoon. And it's like, wow, this is impressive. And then I threw it in the shed. This is before we had the museum. And then we got a phone call. Oh, highest pair of Levi's. This was back in the 90s, sold for $25,000. And I said, we got one. And I was just guessing, but we did have one. And they were Levi's. And they were in the shed. And after that, we decided we would take good care of them. We've made preparations to keep the preservation ongoing so it doesn't just drop off and turn into another desert dump or something. Where, so we have set up a nonprofit. And the nonprofit will have complete control after we're gone, and to keep it going further on. And then there's no limit to a person's vision and how far you can go with something. It's like that wall. You could go down another 100 vertical feet. How spectacular would that be? You know, to have some way to get down there. There's no limit to the beauty there, and there's a limit to maybe how many lights you can put in there. The best way to support us is you can get a hold of us at Castle Dome Museum. It gives you some information about who we are and what we do. And we do have volunteers who do different things. You can come out here and you can volunteer. You can work at a site. And if you're passionate about history, you'll love an opportunity to share this with people.
I am back at Cerro Gordo with a much greater amount of appreciation for an everyday article of clothing than I thought I ever could have. But it's what makes life fun, you know, understand the context or the story behind these things that maybe in our everyday life that we've never spent the time to think about really. You know, and I know for me, I'm never gonna put on a pair of jeans or look at a pair of jeans the same. And that's cool. You know, so with all of this, what do we learn? Why are jeans found in abandoned mines worth $100,000? Well, I would say that the vast majority of the time, 99.99999% of the time, they're not. You know, 99% of mines don't have any type of article of clothing in them, and if they do, they're not the jeans that make these headlines. This has happened, what, once or twice in the course of history, and so there's an extreme rarity to these types of jeans, and that's part of the reason they're expensive. You know, as we know, if things are rare, they're more expensive. But I think it goes beyond that. I think it's what the jeans represent. You know, this is something that is so ingrained in our culture, not just here in the United States, but worldwide, that's very accessible. You can see as a collectible why a lot of people will be into this. You know, it brings up this idea of like rebellion, resistance, style, you know, all these iconic people from Hollywood and all these different places. And it's cool. You know, it's something that people relate to. And so there's a wide market. And if you have a wide market, there's more people with more money, which could drive up the prices. You know, and at the end of the day, these things, when they are found, people are risking their lives to get them. You know, I wanted to mention that, you know, mines are inherently extremely dangerous. There's a reason they say stay out, stay alive outside of them. They are hazardous, they are toxic, they can be fatal. And so I want to say that in this video, you saw myself, Britt, and Jeremy exploring mines. We have explored thousands of mines. You know, we went through great safety precautions on this day to make sure that it was going to be a safe explore. You know, Britt and Jeremy got permission to explore these mines in advance, and they made sure that everything was going to be safe from our getting out there and from our getting back. And that's important. You know, I do want to say that if you're out there and you watch this video and you're like, oh, I'm going to explore an abandoned mine, I would highly recommend against it. I think that, you know, sometimes it's good to understand history, but sometimes it's good to respect history too. And there's been a lot of history of people getting very injured in mines. And so I would just say, stay out, stay alive. There's a reason that they say it all the time. Stay out of the abandoned mines. But beyond that, I really appreciate you guys checking out this video and the support over the years up here. I love being able to dive down these different rabbit holes and share the findings with you. I hope that many of you make it up here to Cerro Gordo, to the museum I'm in. There's plenty of rabbit holes to go down, all the different items around me. But until then, I hope you guys have an amazing day.